everyone. Welcome to Pantry Science with Miss Lori. Today we're going to be talking about tessellations. But first I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a librarian at Orange County Public Library, and I normally do this STEM program with kids in grades K through 2. What we do is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And today we're going to be focusing mostly on art and math. The reason why we came up with Pantry Science is because, as you know, we have a stay-at-home order, and I'd really like to use things that we have at home to do STEAM programming. So today we will use our pantry and come up with some activities for tessellations. Now, tessellations is something that you actually learned a little bit about as a preschooler. And a tessellation is a pattern that has no overlapping pieces and also no gaps between the pieces. But as you notice, these patterns have gaps, but this is what you learned in preschool. So we have a red triangle, a yellow rectangle, a red triangle, a yellow rectangle, a red triangle, and a yellow rectangle. What do you think comes next? That's right, it's another red triangle. So how about this one? What do you think comes next on this one? That's right, a purple hexagon. So when you were a little kid, this is what you learned. But today we're going to learn about tessellations, which is something that big kids even like to draw. And there's an adult that we're going to learn about that used tessellations in his art, and he was famous. So this is our Oxford Dictionary definition of tessellation. An arrangement of shapes closely fitted together, especially of polygons, in a repeated pattern without gaps or overlapping. So this is a part of geometry. So as you learn, you will probably do some of these in your geometry class later. Well, tessellations are really interesting because they are found in nature, they're found in our clothing, they're found in our buildings, and I wanted to show you this picture of a pineapple nonetheless. How many of you like pineapples? I like pineapples, especially fresh ones like this one. Well, this pineapple has a tessellation on its skin. If you notice, there's these little shapes, and they're fitted together perfectly without overlapping and without gaps. Now here's a flower, and if you notice in the middle, there's all these little seeds, and they fit together just perfectly, just like we were talking about. Oh, now this one is a little different. What do you think this is? This is only a little part of an animal. It is a snake, and all these little scales that are on the snake's back fit together perfectly, just like the definition of a tessellation. Now this one's a little complicated because the pattern is not repeated. However, it is a tessellation because the pieces fit together and they also don't overlap. Now what do you think this is? It's an animal, and this is its fur. It's a giraffe. There we go. How about this? That's right, it's a honeycomb. And bees build these to make honey. And they are all hexagons, and they all fit together just like a tessellation. Okay, how many of you have houses that have bricks on them? Now, these bricks, they fit together without overlapping and without spaces. Now, can you imagine what would happen to your house if there were spaces between the bricks and they were just put in haphazardly? What do you think would happen? I think they would fall down. I think your whole house might be just in a bad way. So this is another picture of a building, and I thought this was a very interesting building. It's actually in Monaco, which is all the way across the ocean. But this is so interesting because it has arches and it also has hexagons. If you see, it has a hexagon, but it also has triangles in the middle of it. One interesting building. Remember I told you that there was an artist that was famous? Well, this is a picture of him. His name is M.C. Escher. He was born in 1898 in the Netherlands. So Escher really enjoyed art. He didn't enjoy school very much. He struggled a lot with math, which makes it really funny that he really likes tessellations. Well, he studied in Italy and then he went to Spain where he went to this castle. It might be kind of hard to see. Well, the castle is called Alhambra and it's in the Granada province. Well, inside this castle, there were a lot of tiles, and the tiles formed tessellations, which is so interesting. If you look, there's all kinds of different shapes here, but those shapes all form tessellations. If you notice, right there's one, right here's one, and then there's all these different shapes that fit together. Here's some more tiles. And the building is full of tessellation, and that's where he found his love for it. So Escher ended up making over 137 drawings of tessellations. This is one of his more famous ones, and if you notice, there are a bunch of fish. How in the world did he make those fit together just right? I think that would take a lot of work. He also did this with lizards and frogs and other insects and birds, and he even used some human shapes. Isn't that amazing? I bet he really did stump some mathematicians that he was able to do this. So today we are going to do some interesting activities, and our activities will involve pasta. And I put it on the website that you're going to need rigatoni. But you can actually use any kind of pasta you'd like. The best ones to use are the ones that are already in a shape, because if you use spaghetti, you have to cut them. And you have to make sure you cut the spaghetti at the correct length. Whereas if you use something like rigatoni or elbow macaroni, then you can actually just get it right out of the box and make your tessellation. So what I did, I used rigatoni. And when you do your tessellation, you'll have to think about what kind of shape you want your tessellation to be. You can make a big circle, you can make them look like the bricks, or you can make them zigzag. You could do whatever you want. Well, I'm going to grab a few of these and kind of show you. So you could make them straight like bricks. And then remember, the bricks were kind of offset a little bit. Like that. And what you would do is glue them on once you've decided what you want it to look like. Now, what I did was I made kind of a zigzag. So I started it here, and you'll need glue. You may want to use liquid glue instead of glue stick, because with liquid glue, you wouldn't need as much. With glue stick, you need to really gob it on to make it stick to the paper, because see how the pasta has all these ridges? You have to be able to fill that in. So as you do your zigzag or whatever shape you're doing, just stick it on like that and try to continue your pattern. Now I have one that I've already kind of done. Now you can make your pattern and your tessellation about as big as you would like, or you can make it as little as you would like. I chose to stop mine right here. What I'd really like to see is I'd like to see you post some of your tessellations online. All you have to do is go to the link that you use to get to this, and just post a picture in the comments section so that way we can see what you've done at home. So just to wrap this up a little bit, I want to show you some books that are available on Hoopla. Hoopla is an e-resource that we have at the library that's really, really nice. Has movies, it has music, it has books, it has audiobooks, it has all sorts of fun resources on it. Well, I picked out 3 books from Hoopla, and this one is called Toads and Tessellations, and it's more of a storybook, and it tells the story of this little boy who uses tessellations to build things. Now this is more of a science book. It's called Cool Tessellations, Fun for Kids. And it has different activities going from really easy to really hard ones. And so if you want a challenge, this might be the book for you. You start out in the very beginning and it gives you patterns to cut out. And then you'll cut more than one pattern, obviously, and then fit it together and be able to make your own unique tessellation. And lastly, this one's called Mosaic and Tessellated Patterns. And if you notice, these are pattern blocks. You may have used them in school. Well, you can make your own using paper and cutting the shapes out. So just remember, these books are available on Hoopla, and they are an e-resource, and they're available at our virtual website. So I really had fun today. I hope you did too, and continue working on your tessellation and post those pictures. See you next time.